With YouTube attacking alternative media, please consider supporting the channel via Patreon for just $1 per month. Link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is $3 Theater, and I have been one of the more vocal people out there for the Snyder Cut of Justice League. I want to see it. I want to bathe in it, because I loved Batman v Superman Extended Cut so freaking much. I loved Man of Steel so freaking much, and I was pumped, man. I'm talking like nips could cut glass for Justice League. And while I enjoyed Joss Whedon's take on it, and I enjoyed it theatrically, it's just not what I want. But we're never going to see it. And that is something I've had to come to terms with. But that being said, I have to talk about this from the perspective of what the hell. Okay. So there's been a change.org petition for the Snyder Cut of Justice League, right? And that got 174,000 people. This one here, 173,799 people have supported it. And at this point, they've kind of announced a new addition to this petition where they're currently seeking funding to make the Snyder Cut documentary. This is coming from Orlando Gutierrez from North Carolina. And as a person who has worked in Hollywood, worked on crowdfunding campaigns for films, and everything else, I look at this and out of pure concern, have to 100% warn you from even remotely donating to this. And there are a number of reasons why, as we will get to as we go through Orlando's pitch for the project. Because I think, I can't sit there and criticize it without looking at what the man has to say. So it says, hi, I made the petition requesting Warner Brothers Pictures to release the director's cut of Justice League with Junkie XL score on home media. I wrote the petition before the film was released in theaters because I felt that something wasn't right about the entire situation regarding Joss Whedon's involvement, the replacement of Junkie XL with Danny Elfman, and Warner Brothers' decision to mandate a 2-hour runtime. For a film that dealt with the completion of a story arc that began in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, at the time of the release of Justice League, my excitement and expectation to watch the film was close to none, as the driving artistic visionary had left the film due to a heartbreaking and understandable reason. And once I heard the track list for the score, whatever was left of hope to watch the end of Superman's journey was gone. Then the day of the release arrived. I decided to give the film a shot, and that's when I saw the film started with a cell phone video which showed Henry Cavill with an almost unrecognizable face. My girlfriend turned to me and asked if the studio had replaced the actor. I jokingly said to her that Cavill was disfigured in an accident filming Mission Impossible 6, as the truth was far more ridiculous. After that, my mind left the film, as I heard the incredible Is She With You soundtrack being torn apart to pieces by Danny Elfman and his circus-type scoring. The only thing left in that scene was to add Bugs Bunny saying, "That's all, folks." Then Martha Kent told Lois Lane that she was a thirsty woman, which my girlfriend turned to me again to ask if the writer was the same one who wrote Batman v Superman. I said yes and no, because the film was rewritten by Joss Whedon and what Chris Terrio wrote was left in the cutting room floor. And then the film saw the Flash falling on top of Diana's breasts and him awkwardly talking about brunch. Batman saying something is definitely bleeding, which made me think of Ant-Man and his need for orange slices. You have to know that one of the most interesting parts of Batman's personality is that he doesn't share his emotions or feelings with anyone. That even Talia al Ghul, member of the League of Assassins, daughter of the Demon's Head, and the future mother of Bruce's son Damian, he has had a hard time with. But that's not all. Superman was resurrected, and then he suddenly turned into a cheesy character. Lois Lane, how does it feel being dead? Superman, itchy, and then he turned into Christopher Reeve wannabe. But I'm also a big fan of justice. I like being alive. I regret that I want to die. The only thing left to add was him winking at the camera and saying, "Hi, you wanted Christopher Reeve Superman back? Here I am." And that was when I decided to post a petition to change.org. Now, listen, that is a long diatribe. But you can see here, this dude clearly had problems with it, right? Orlando Gutierrez clearly had issues with this particular film. And he's not the only one. A lot of people out there felt the same way. And he was not a fan of how Joss Whedon approached it. I don't know if I necessarily needed his life story or if you needed his life story in order to get what he's trying to say here, but I do feel that the full context is needed because at this point you can kind of see where things are going. He goes on to say, I've always been a DC fan. I've collected comic books, films, both animated and live action, and after school I used to watch Justice League, the animated series, in Teen Titans and Cartoon Network. I always found myself feeling like there was some relatable qualities between Batman's story arc and my own, where the Dark Knight is a crime fighter looking to maintain justice within the walls of his city. Bruce Wayne was the mask that covered the darkness inside a man who was both everything and nothing at the same time. On one hand, he can buy the most expensive cars, gadgets, and go out with the most beautiful of women, while on the other, there is no sense of family or love. Although his trustworthy butler represents a father figure for him, and Talia al Ghul, his almost forbidden love, is not enough for the Caped Crusader to maintain a sense of humanity. And that's where Superman and the rest of Justice League come in. They are his family, although he doesn't share his feelings with them. He feels at home with them not because of their common villains, but because of the stories. They all share stories. That, for readers and viewers, are relatable. That range from Batman losing his parents, to a mugging, to Superman not being able to save his father from a heart attack, to Flash struggling with the fact that he can save his mother, but he would have had to sacrifice lives that he saved, as time is his worst enemy, or how Aquaman was left behind by his mother at a young age, or how Wonder Woman struggles with the true nature of her estranged father, all while Cyborg has to live with the fact that not being able to live in a normal life due to his robotic body. And of course, there are a few examples of the DC's most iconic heroes, but that doesn't end there, as one filmmaker had the audacity to take once thought to be an impossible job of making Superman human, and that artist was Zack Snyder. Now, that is I guess you could say a commentary that is up for debate. A lot of people did not like the deconstruction of Superman's character from Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. Personally, I loved it. I felt that they took, a wholly uninteresting character to me, and Superman is, to me, an uninteresting character. Overall, and they made him grounded and more human. Him trying to live with the human experience and looking at it through his lens made him much more interesting to me. We could definitely disagree in that particular case, and I know that the comments on this will entirely do that, but still. Now, oh God, I don't even want to read through this anymore. Okay. I don't want to go through Christopher Nolan's bit, mostly because, screw it. Now, this is where we get to the fundraiser part. The fundraiser money will go to a documentary of Zack Snyder's Justice League Director's Cut, the search for the truth on what really happened, and whether or not the film will ever be released is ongoing, and maybe a documentary about it might help the cause I started with the petition, and then just contribute to the fundraiser. Now, he's looking for, I believe, a total of $4,000 to make this. $4,000 so far. $20 have been put into it. And I'm sure he's hoping that by using the 174,000 people that are connected to the original petition, he's hoping to raise that money. Here, if you haven't already picked up on a whirlwind of issues with this, let me just kind of lay it out here. So, for one, there's no description of the product on the page as to where the $4,000 would go. Are you buying gear? Are you buying a lighting kit, camera, microphone? Are you going to be trying to cover travel costs? Are you going to try to speak with Zack Snyder himself? Do you have a possible connection to get close to Zack Snyder? What about anyone else connected with the DCEU? Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, Ray Fisher, the guy who played the Flash, whose name I can't think of right now. Are you going to be able to talk to Joss Whedon? Going to be able to talk to anyone from Suicide Squad, and get their ancillary information on that? What exactly do you plan on doing? Do you plan on just looking at YouTube videos and articles about how the thing broke down, and then that's what you're trying to raise $4,000 to do? I understand what he's attempting to do is he's attempting to rip off John Schnepp's Superman Returns documentary, which he did crowdfund that as a way to definitely tell the story of the failed Tim Burton Superman Lives film. And talk with Kevin Smith and other people involved, and it was an interesting documentary. I get that's probably what they're trying to do here, but at the same time, there's nothing here to indicate any frame of release or estimated release date, what perks there might be for donating, what fans might be able to see, any type of reference to this person's work prior. I'd have a better shot at creating this documentary simply based on the fact that I produce content on YouTube. You could at least look at my resume of work, if you want to call it that, and say, oh, well, at least we know that he has a camera, he has gear, and he could probably go and get these things done. Whereas this is asking for $4,000 and not putting anything up to show that why there should be. Now, the thing is, I part of me cannot help but ask the question, is Orlando trying to capitalize on the success of this particular petition and pocket the money himself? Now, again, I'm not making an accusation. I'm merely formulating a question, because it doesn't seem like there's anything there outside of him explaining why he's upset at the film, of which I completely agree with him, why I should give any bit of money to this, right? Now, there is like the forsnydercut.org, which is an interesting website I've covered before. I've asked Fiona, the woman behind that, for an interview. She's refused, and it feels like, if you know, that would be a person you'd want to talk to. Would he try to reach out to her? Are they going to have any kind of conversation? Are they going to be able to communicate at all to talk about the project? These are things that I think would be good in order to prove that you are worth the money. So as much as I want to see the Zack Snyder director's cut of Justice League, which we've heard, you know, conflicting reports on the level of completion, I cannot in good faith even remotely support a $4,000 fundraiser for a documentary that literally boils down to 3 huge paragraphs of exposition and 1 2-sentence paragraph, if that's even what you want to call it, talking about the project as a whole. No video introduction, no Indiegogo campaign, nothing like that. It just feels like there is that this right now boils down to being basically nothing more than a way to capitalize on it. And the reason why this is a problem is a lot of the movie bloggers that are out there have treated the fans' reaction to wanting the Snyder Cut with nothing but mockery. Especially looking at the protest in front of Warner Brothers that was for the hashtag release the Snyder Cut. That was basically just a photo op. They all attacked them. They mocked them. They belittled them on social media. And there are a lot of fans out there who legitimately want to see this, legitimately want to be involved. And ultimately, no, they're not going to get that. They're not going to get that at all. And they're going to get mocked again. I'm surprised at this point the bloggers haven't picked up on this, and you know, and they're going to mock it to hell and back because it's a poorly thought out crowdfunding campaign for a documentary that ultimately would be cool to see. I'm not against seeing it. In fact, I should probably talk to the guys at Midnight's Edge about making it ourselves, because I think, you know, we would probably be better prepared for this and everything else than someone than Orlando here, whose heart I do feel maybe is in the right place, but this is such a woefully presented project that I can't in good faith even remotely support it. Which, again, to Orlando, if you happen to come across this, up your game if you want the $4,000. Just putting your hand out on a petition that has nearly 200,000 people that have signed it and saying money please is not going to get you what you want. Now, speaking of what I want you guys to thumbs up the video, share it around, post your comments below about this. Do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? And also, I am going to be giving away a copy of Justice League. I know. It comes on Blu-ray here pretty soon, so I'll be giving out a copy of that when the movie releases. If you want to get in on that action, just make sure that you are subscribed and you do comment below, because I want to be giving away a lot more movies in 2018. I think that's going to be a lot of fun, because I want people to watch movies and own movies, and I'm not talking no digital copy. I'm talking hardcover copy, you know, full physical media, baby. That will be happening. So anyway, do that below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This has been $3 Theater. If you haven't already, or if you want to see more content from me, you can do so right now.